Let me get this straight. You blew up a building.
2 CIs and the CEO of 22andU?
Two competing federal agencies with the same mission.
I don't understand why those Fed a-holes are so darn mean.
To protect the public from the scourge of dangerous misinformation.
You know those bum idiots. This is all them. We had a solid case.
The word entrapment, not even in their vocabulary.
The explosives we provided were fake.
Sworn to a duty to always tell the truth.
We have no indication at this time that this was a deliberate act.
We're all being transferred.
To where?
The only place currently with openings. Alaska.
Good morning.
Welcome to the office, huh?
And we got the retro feel. You know, the funny about federal buildings, they're all different, but they're still somehow all the same.
Oh, good morning, Agent Walker. At the coffee station. We actually drew straws before he got here, and I won, so we get to work together.
Let's get started. Let's see if we can't stir something up.
Let's give it a minute. I like to warm up the truth muscles, a little coffee beforehand.
Well, what do you want to do first?
What do we have for a surveillance van?
Oh, wow. I got a Ford Explorer. We don't have a surveillance van.
Do you put many cases here?
Cases?
Yeah, cases. We're the tip of the spear when it comes to protecting American democracy.
You really believe this? You really believe that people posting crap online is going to cause our country to crumble?
I think the work that we do is important.
We don't have a surveillance van.
Me and some people got one. We've never needed one.
We need a surveillance van. We need a big case or a CI who can lead us to a big case.
What do you need the van for?
Surveillance.
CIs, or confidential informants, are the lifeblood of any good law enforcement agency. Public posts on social media are one of the best ways to find CIs. Agents would never use coercion or take things out of context to try and persuade someone to become a confidential informant.
New Taylor Swift single is absolute fire. I'm just seeing a lot of incendiary and violent language here.
Agents always need to be on their toes and ready to make snap decisions.
Is there anything I can do for you guys? Actually, David, there is something you can do for us.
Chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggies.
What?
Cheeseburger. Cheeseburger. McDonald's cheeseburger.
Burger King.
Burger King cheeseburger.
Flame broiled.
And chicken nuggets.
Oh, baby, know you're gonna like it. I wanna be your beaver pilot. Said, honey, know you're gonna like it. I wanna be.
Awesome, right?
Is this a loner?
This thing's totally legit.
What is this? It's got windows!
All right. We are live. Yeah, we'll see if this is working.
All right, how about, I think it's working now. I got a new microphone. Check it out. New microphone. There we go. Of course, I didn't set my microphone output to the right thing, but other than that, it seems like it's working okay. Yep, sounds pretty good, I think, maybe. It's not very loud, but yeah, we'll tune it in. We'll work on it here. Yeah. And I just decided to turn myself off. Trying to do something. Tried to do something and then it doesn't work out. So you know how it goes. But yeah, I think it sounds good, and it's trying to get away from the stupid Logitech because everything's not working on that. But yeah, no, this sounds really good. It seems very stable when I turn on the right inputs. So I will, I've got multiple ones. We've got some for the studio too. So I will be taking those down to the studio and getting those put in and getting some new software updates down there and throwing all that together. But yeah, all right. How's everybody doing? Welcome. This is day 2 of this insane trial for somebody on trial for on trial for second-degree murder for supposedly running over their significant other boyfriend with a car, which the science, if you remember the first trial, the science said that did not happen. But they're trying again to fit this square peg in this round hole. But on day 2, this trial is complete, and that was the name of my thing tonight was trial number 2 is completely different than trial number 1. It is insane how much different these two are. The first trial we had by the second day, and that's why I decided to do those videos last time, was because it just kept getting weirder and weirder as we went on. Like we had all the fire and rescue, we had the cops, and within like the first day or two of testimony, it's like, what is going on? And you know, Aiden Turtle Boy had been saying for months that, hey, this trial is nuts. These people are nuts. These people did not do this, or Karen Reed did not do this, right? Karen Reed did not kill John O'Keefe, and it just didn't happen. And so we see all the craziness from last trial, and it's crazy. I mean, the what are you guys doing? The cops with their cups of blood, and I hit him from the McLaughlin firefighter, and it's just and the butt dials and everything. And we're not there yet. I mean, obviously we're getting into that. We're going to get into that. But right now, there is not. It's legal maneuvering, one, to try to get the experts from the defense to not be able to testify. Supposedly, they violated a rule against discovery, but yet the prosecution turned over discovery last night and said, we're going to use this in our case. Here is some new discovery. Here's some new cell phone data that we're going to use in our case. Have at it. Go for it. Enjoy. It's like, how is that even legal? How is that even? And I mean, every day it comes out that there is more and more things that this judge is doing that would, if for some reason this jury does convict Karen Reed on anything, she has a very strong appeal case. Now, once again, appeals are for losers. In order to be appealing a decision, you have to first lose and go to prison, probably. So because I know that there's going to be no leniency. There is not going to be, hey, can I stay out of prison while I appeal this sentence? No, that is not going to happen in this case. So, yeah, so we begin the day. So I've got Melanie queued up here. Let's see. Kind of want to see her reaction to this whole thing. Yeah, let's just, this was like way too early for me. This is like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was up at 5:30 this morning for some reason, and I turned it on, but this is like beforehand. So let's see what we got here. Hang on a second. Let me do some, oh no. I closed my browser instead of closing Discord. And so I had everything opened already. And instead of closing Discord, I closed my browser. So I had like 6 or 7 tabs open in my browser that I just closed. Let's see, browser history. Oh, let me go to my browser history. Okay. All right. Let's see. No, I don't want that one. Story. All right, let's see. Okay, there we go. All right, cool. I can just pull up the history. Sorry, this is going to take a minute. Let me pull up my history and get this stupid thing figured out here. Okay, we want that one. There is Melanie. Okay. And then, all right, lawyer, Okay, and that was 4 hours ago. Cool. There we go. Man, just hitting one single button, and you totally hose yourself. Totally screw yourself over. All right, Andrea. So funny. Already got that one up. So where is Emily? I'm sure Emily will just pop up here. All right, let's see. Yep, there we go. All right. Okay. I could have gone to my YouTube history too. Let's see. Melanie, Arcada, Andrea. Oh, AV. That's one I want to. Okay. There we go. All right. I think I got myself situated again. Just clicked that wrong X. All right. Now let's try this again. Okay. This was the first thing this morning.
Prosecution stumbles badly in opening. Oh, we're unmuted. Are we going to start already? Praise be under.
Please be seated. Court is in session. 22 CR 117, the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed.
Okay. All right. So I was told counsel wanted to see me about something.
Oh, good.
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. one of the witnesses that the Commonwealth intends to call today, Trooper Garino. Many of these reports are Celebrate reports that are run with new software and not addressed in any corresponding report. Some of them include data that have never been discussed by Trooper Garino. There's at least one PowerPoint that is hundreds of pages long that appears to be cut and copied text messages and various phone calls. But again, we received at 10:45 last night. This is in violation of Rule 14, and we're asking the court to exclude, at the very least, the lengthy PowerPoint of phone.
So what she just said was at 10:45 last night, the Commonwealth said, hey, here is hundreds of new pages of stuff that we're going to use in our case. Good luck.
Phone calls and text messages that have been copied and pasted into a PowerPoint because we have no ability to go through in a timely manner and review them for accuracy.
Okay, I know you can't hear her. She's not near a mic. I apologize on her behalf. Last night at 10:45 p.m., they received something like 19 new reports from Trooper Garino, including all of the new Celebrite extractions from the new software and a new PowerPoint presentation at 10:45 p.m. last night.
Now, Trooper Garino, we're going to get into him in a little bit. He's a piece of crap. I mean, most of these people are awful, awful, awful people. Trooper Garino is especially awful.
And Hanky Spanky Brennan has the nerve to complain about discovery violations. This is what you call trial by ambush. He has yelled fire many times about trial by ambush. This is actually trial by ambush. Let's see if the judge has any grave concerns about this. Okay.
Of course she does.
Here we go. Rock on. My sister, Elizabeth Little, no relation.
What do you say about that, Mr. Brennan?
Your Honor, all of this information is from the phone discovery, which they've already had. There are a number of different select PowerPoints that were
When did they get it?
last night,
No, when did they already have?
2023.
Okay.
And so what you may remember from the last
The
trial
software didn't
is
exist
that
then, you
there is,
fool.
for example, Mr. O'Keefe's entire phone log, and then it's separated by his phone calls with the defendant, perhaps another witness. And so what we did is we tried to consolidate. Instead of having 50 of these things, I try to make them more limited. We did use
I was
more updated
helping them, Your
software.
Honor.
The only difference is it shows emojis. In addition, we took the phone calls and the emails or the text messages, which was presented at the last trial. Content has not changed. We just put it in a PowerPoint so that when it's read, instead of just reading the text messages and then searching for the phone calls, where Trooper Garino would then refer to a separate document, it's simply an order. There is a presentation of a different PowerPoint, which is from the old data, 2023, but it is information that was not introduced at the last trial, although it was clearly provided to the defense in advance. And what it is, it's healthcare data of the defendant's watch, and Jennifer McCabe's watch.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
And what it does is it tracks her heart rate from midnight all the way through the next morning. Now, although that information was available to the defense, they could have done what they wanted with it. That information was never put in a PowerPoint presentation. I will not, do not expect Trooper Garino to talk about it during his testimony. He's a witness. I'm going to ask the court to recall. The reason I turned that over was to be transparent and to be collegial. We would not introduce it on direct, but as Your Honor ordered, there was an order not to get into third-party culprit evidence. Jennifer McCabe was never identified as a third-party culprit, yet in the opening, the defense suggested something about 227. If the defense is to cross-examine or suggest that a phone call occurred at 227, this would be to rebut that information. I could have waited until after the cross-examination and then sprung this as a
This is so stupid. This part coming up is so stupid.
Surprise upon the defense because it is powerful.
I'm sorry. 10:45 p.m. last night, the night before you intend to call Trooper Garino to the stand, is not a surprise. I hope that he does not dislocate his shoulder by patting himself on the back today, because despite his hyperbolic temper tantrum yesterday about trial by ambush, and the defense not retaining text messages between themselves and the ARCA witnesses about their scheduling to come in and do their voir dire last trial, and their scheduling them and their flights and their hotels and whatever. He turns over 19 new reports last night for Trooper Reno's testimony, and he's calling himself a good guy. We didn't have to do this. Wow. Just when you thought your Tuesday could not get any more fun. My across the pond friend, I don't care where you are. If you're on the West Coast right now, get yourself a cocktail, because this is going to be a morning.
All right. Come on.
Powerful evidence showing her heart rate is inconsistent with being in a criminal conspiracy, yet we provided it in advance so that it have notice consistent.
All right, I'm going to let him talk, Marco.
So
powerful evidence showing her heart rate is inconsistent with being in a criminal conspiracy, yet we provided it in advance so that it have notice days before.
So they want to take a Fitbit or Apple Health data, I think it's Apple Health, and say that because she was wearing, this is Jennifer McCabe now, this is 227 Jennifer McCabe. They're going to say that since she was wearing her Apple Watch that was tracking her heartbeat, that she could not have been a part of a criminal conspiracy because her heart rate didn't change when she made the Google search about Hoslong to die in cold at 227. Apple Health data is not medical data. Two, what? So Runkle went through this just a little bit ago too, and he was freaking out. He's like, "Hey, this is not health data." Well, for one, for two, who is Hank Brennan a expert on the heart rates of criminals? I mean, this is getting into the territory where you need expert opinions. So this is nuts.
Garino would even testify about it.
Her heart rate is inconsistent with being a part of a criminal conspiracy. Are you kidding me?
The most insane freaking thing I have heard.
Maybe because she's a cold as ice biatch. Maybe. Have you heard her 911 call? Her dear friend, John O'Keefe, of 10 years, more than a decade, she loves this man. She says, I love this man. I love this man. I was devastated. Something tragic happened to me. And yet when she calls 911, there's a man passed out on the snow. And you want to introduce her Apple heart rate data to prove that her heart rate data is
hear how stupid this sounds?
With her being involved in a criminal conspiracy? You can't make this up. I have to just rewind that again because I can't believe that.
All right. So this will be first. We got to bring this up this morning. Let's see. Yeah. And you can tell she is already, Bev, the judge, is already trying to find a way to not give a crap about any of that, to not give a crap about the Rule 14 violations, right? She is already trying to find a way to let that stuff in. I mean, you can tell, you can hear it in her voice. Well, when did they have it? Oh, they had it in 2023. Oh, okay. So you can tell she's already looking for an angle to let this stuff in. You know, the phone records especially. I mean, that's dumb. And damn it. Yeah.
And so what you may remember from the last trial is that there is, for example, Mr. O'Keefe's entire phone log and then is separated by his phone calls with the defendant.
All right, I want to see if she says anything about
do
the
show emojis. The internet will melt down over.
Turn that over was to be transparent and to be collegial.
Was intimating. Y'all watched with me yesterday.
The defense suggested something about 227.
Yeah, I'm going to hear Emily's thing.
Y'all watched with me yesterday. In the defense opening, do you think the defense was intimating that Jen McCabe did something to John O'Keefe? Or do you think the defense was intimating, hey, look at all this shit that could have been investigated and wasn't? That one? Was it that one?
To cross-examine or suggest that a phone call occurred at 227.
Weird.
This would be to rebut that
All the
information.
questions one might ask.
I could have waited until after the cross-examination and then sprung this as a surprise upon the defense because it is powerful evidence showing her heart rate is inconsistent with being in a criminal conspiracy, yet we provided it in advance so they'd have notice.
What expert evidence do you have to say what somebody's heart rate would be like if they're involved in a criminal conspiracy?
Right.
Days before Trooper Garino would even testify.
I don't even know how you're going to get into
So
that.
the PowerPoints that were
not running
provided
around,
last night, you don't intend to use either one of those in your
Presentation I would regarding the
What are
text
we doing
messages and
today,
phone calls.
Brennan?
At the last trial, Trooper Garino read the text messages from the screen, and at the same time, he would look at the phone calls and he would
It's
go back
crazy.
and forth between the papers. This is simply putting the phone calls with the text messages in the chronological order so that on the screen,
I'm not
rather
surprised
than
the
be text
defense wants to
messages
check how they were
and then
copy and
refer
pasted, though.
to the phone calls and
Any of you
state
shocked?
there was a phone call.
The defense wants to
it can simply
double
be
check?
shown on the screen.
I'm
What do you say about that, Ms. Little? It's content you had. It's messages that came in at the last trial.
The problem, Your Honor, is this is not from a Cellbrite report. It's been individually copied.
I need to see it. I need to take
Yeah,
a look
it's
at
just-
this. Do
it
you have an
is.
extra copy for me, Mr. Brennan?
They're allowed to make demonstrative exhibits. However, you have to go through and make sure they match up to Celebrate.
I can provide a copy, Your Honor.
So Trooper Garino is not going to be your next witness after Ms. Roberts, is he?
It's going to be Peggy O'Keefe, and then it would be Trooper Garino. As I said, I can recall him, and I expect to because there's a number of other events. If it becomes an issue, I can call him to.
She is. Her and Runk are absolutely right. That is expert testimony. You don't have an expert that says if this person's heart rate doesn't jump up, there's no way they made this search. He's going to say her heart rate didn't change, so there's no way she made the Haas long to die in cold at 227. Are you freaking kidding me? And oh my God, this trial is frustrating. You get these little bursts of this stupidity. Now, the last trial, like I said, the stupidity was off the charts, right? But this is cringe. This isn't like, and you know, I get it. They're like the man was killed, and there's no bringing that back. But to put somebody on trial with the lack of evidence that you have, and then to pull this stunts like this, it's like, what are we doing? Massachusetts is just dumb.
To authenticate the phones that we'll need for our further witnesses.
He's probably going to be on the stand
Ian Whiffen
multiple
and Jessica
times.
Hyde, and then I can simply recall him. I don't need to read these to the jury today, but there's nothing new in it. There's nothing surprising, but I will make this as easy as possible for
All
everybody.
right, I'd like to be able to take a look at this. I'd like the defense to
Nothing's
take
being
a look
made
at
easy.
it. You're right, Ms. Little. You're entitled to be able to spend some time looking at
Yeah,
what
I
the
think
Commonwealth
he would be
intends
the
to
reader.
put into evidence today. So
You are.
I
yeah,
heard that
so
too,
I just
Chad.
took, I guess, Mr. Lally's copy.
Yesterday when I asked if Peggy O'Keefe was testifying, I thought maybe she was going to be the first witness, but she's testifying today.
So if you can get me, Mr. Clerk, would you give this back to Mr. Lally? If you can get me.
And of course, they they also come up with
My annoyance does not change her annoyance.
ARCA people are not
download her
available
Text
on
messages
Friday,
were
so
deleted, and you said in due course. I have no idea what you mean by in due course. It's a pending case. We need to figure out. I need to figure out that at least.
That's
And there, okay.
In Your Honor, the 30-day, if you make a call, the defense had this very same issue with a matter with District Attorney Morrison.
Oh, shit.
So you said, I'm unclear what the deletions are, and we're happy to have testimony, the ARCA witnesses to discuss it.
There to bring them if they still have them.
Exactly. That is also very helpful. But this 30-day auto delete, a lot of attorneys do that. District Attorney Morrissey did that.
I need something in writing about that. That's not my understanding of how to keep records in a pending case. And remember,
He's saying we tried to get to DA Morrissey's text and everyone said they deleted over 30 days. She's like, I need something in writing. That's not how you preserve a pending case. This isn't a civil case. So if the defense make file notes about their expert, I don't know how that's not proper record preservation, but I don't know. I'm going to ask.
because it's Beverly's world and she gets to decide what is law and what is not. And of course she holds somebody's life in the balance, but hey, whatever this blonde idiot comes up with is what the rule is. So this woman is just, I try to keep an open mind, and the way that this case is coming together is not. It is complete mess. It's just a complete mess. It's there's not any really engaging testimony. There's not much evidence that they're getting out yet. There's no, there's a tiny bit of circumstantial evidence, and then there is a bunch of emotional evidence that it's not even evidence. There's just a bunch of emotional baggage that's getting launched. And then you have a few moments of the defense scoring points. Like we'll look with Carrie Roberts' testimony. Remember, her testimony was just, I guess you got to get in because she was the one on the scene, the first one on the scene. She gets to talk about how, how Karen reacted and how crazy she was and blah, blah, blah. But, it's not that riveting. And then you find out, oh, she lied. Interesting. She completely lied to the grand jury back in the day. Oh, that probably would have been nice to know. So, all right. So, yeah. So there's no, so it looks like instead of the ARCA voir dire taking place on Friday, it's going to take place on Monday, and then we'll go from there. So, all right. Let's see what else. I love Andrea's on 10 hours today. Andrea Burkhart was on this freaking channel for 10 hours and 49 minutes today. That's how long her freaking live stream is. She is a boss. Emily was 7:45. AV was 6:52. 8:21 for Melanie. Mercada 7:19. And then Lawyer Knows, like, he did a recap thing, so we'll look at that here in a bit. Because I wanted to get a couple of new folks in the recap video today. But yeah, so Andrea, it's 10 hours and 49 minutes. That is a marathon. That is a marathon. I want to see what she says. Oh, I want to hear what she says about the heart thing. Let me get the dialogue up here. Oh no. No, I don't have a transcript. Her stream was so long that it didn't get a transcript. Maybe it's because if it's over 10 hours, it won't do a transcript. So we'll just have to fast forward through. Her heart rate. And that's what I don't understand. The information about her health was available to the defense, and they could have done anything. Why would that? Because nobody is this crazy to think, oh, because her heart rate didn't go up, she can't. There's no possible way that she could be a part of a criminal conspiracy because her heart rate didn't go up on a non-medical device. You're going to rely on a non-medical device that supposedly tracks your heart rate, and we know how. I mean, yes, they can be accurate, but they can also be not completely inaccurate. That is not evidence that you're not in a criminal conspiracy. Why? He doesn't even know what 227 is. It's not a phone call. Look at that look. You can't make this stuff up, man. You can't make this stuff up. It's so insane. Massachusetts is a freaking mess, man. Massachusetts is the idiot capital of the freaking world. All right, let's see. Did AV capture that? Yeah, so she's mad because they can't come in on Friday. The ARCA guys can't come in on Friday. I mean, just the defense can just, or the prosecution just get away with whatever they want, and they can just, it's so frustrating. Oh shit! Sorry. Yep. Hang on. Yep. Now I do. I switched. I got to remember to click that damn tab.
Suggested something about 227. If the defense is to cross-examine or suggest that a phone call occurred at 227, this would be to rebut that information. I could have waited until after the cross-examination and then sprung this as a surprise upon the defense because it is powerful evidence showing her heart rate is inconsistent with being in a criminal conspiracy, yet we provided it in advance so that it have notice days before Trooper Garino would even testify about it.
So the PowerPoints that were provided last night, you don't intend to use either one of those?
Her freaking heart rate. All right, I want to find the best one because I gotta clip that because it's just too insane. Too insane. All right, go back to Emily.
Had to deal with experts in the make file notes about their expert. I don't know how that's not proper record preservation, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask the attorneys that had to deal with experts in the private capacity, not the...
After the cross-examination, and then sprung this as a surprise upon the defense because it is powerful evidence showing.
Powerful evidence. This is powerful evidence showing she can't.
And then sprung this
possibly
as a
be
surprise
in
upon the defense because
criminal
it is powerful
conspiracy.
evidence showing her heart rate is inconsistent with being in a criminal conspiracy. Yet we provided it in advance so they'd have notice.
What expert evidence do you have to say what somebody's heart rate would be like if they're involved in a criminal conspiracy? Just asking.
Mm-hmm.
Days before.
All right, that's good. Ah. All right, come on. Oh, is it not working? What the hell?
I was devastated.
Damn it. I'm stupid. Sorry.
Garino would even testify about it.
Her heart rate is inconsistent with
Damn it.
being a part of
You
a
gotta
criminal
stay on top of
conspiracy.
me.
Are you kidding me? Maybe because she's a cold as ice biatch, maybe. Have you heard her 911 call? Her dear friend John O'Keefe of 10 years, more than a decade, she loves this man. She says, I love this man. I love this man. I was devastated. Something tragic happened to me. And yet when she calls 911, there's a man passed out on the snow.
Hey!
And you want to introduce her
going over
Apple
this
heart rate
stupid-
data to prove that
This Apple heart rate thing. I didn't catch this because this came on at like 5 a.m. So I didn't catch this till this afternoon. And I'm like, what in the world? He's saying that they can introduce her heart rate from an Apple Watch to prove she's not in a conspiracy. This is crazy.
her heart rate data is inconsistent with her being involved in a criminal conspiracy. You can't make this up. I have to just rewind that again because I can't believe that that's what he really actually said. Hold on.
Or suggest that a phone, if the defense, in the opening, the defense suggested something about 227.
This trial is
if the defense
stupid.
is to cross-examine or suggest
Trial number
that
2
a
is
phone
just
call occurred
dumb.
at 227, this would be to rebut that information. I could have waited until after the cross-examination.
There was no phone call at 227. That was when she
Exactly.
Googled Haas Long to die in cold, right? There was no phone call at
Exactly.
227. Hold on a second.
Oh,
This
that's
guy
right.
has
There
no
was,
idea. He's
yeah.
not here.
Yeah, even I was, I said it was a text message. It wasn't. It was a damn Google search. It wasn't a text message or a phone call. She wasn't even communicating with anybody. It was a freaking, oh yeah. No, he says he's going to if they try to cross her up on doing this 227 search, he's going to introduce her heart rate information from her non-medical device Apple Watch to say that there's no way she could be involved in a criminal conspiracy. This guy is nuts. That is the stupidest thing I have ever freaking heard.
For the first trial, and it shows. It shows. He didn't even watch it. He didn't even go to YouTube and try and watch some moron explain it to him in a pro-prosecution way. He's now saying Jennifer McCabe may have made a phone call at 227. Hold on.
Jennifer McCabe was never identified as a third-party culprit, yet in the opening, the defense suggested something about 227. If the defense is to cross-examine or suggest that a phone call occurred at 227, this would be to rebut that information. I could have waited until after the cross-examination and then sprung this as a surprise upon the defense because it is powerful evidence showing her heart rate is inconsistent with being in a criminal conspiracy.
Except you were required to turn over all of your impeachment evidence, right, to the other side. So why would this not be something that you could have to turn over, that you would be allowed to spring it on them? No, that's not the way it works in Massachusetts, Mr. Brennan. You may be new here, but may I introduce you to Judge Kim Jong Kanone? Have you met her? Look at her. My freeze game already on point. I know a lot of you guys are stumbling in late and you may be on the West Coast, so don't worry, I keep stopping it because I cannot, the comedy effect of this cannot
this
be
was like
understated.
5 o'clock this morning. And then she's mad about the ARCA people not being able to make it on Friday. We give 2 days or 3 days notice. Oh my God. All right, so Oh yeah, no, exactly. We're gonna get into that. That's gonna be. I mean, that's what I was saying when I first started. Is like the first trial. By the second day, it was nuts. We had the cops, and I think that was day 5. But the first 2 days were like Katie McLaughlin, all the firefighters, the cops, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, right? Well, this one is like there's no real evidence at all that's been introduced yet. There's just Carrie Roberts, who, basically is making up new stuff about this 5 o'clock phone call. And then, yeah, like you said, you had the guy yesterday that, basically was taught to every time in this, I hit her came up, or I hit him came up. He had to say it was 3 times. And then you had the nutty nut, or her today saying that she lied to the grand jury. Well, technically it was a lie, but I didn't mean to lie. It's like, what? So, yeah, I think Emily's probably got the best reaction to this shit.
From the old data, 2023, but it is information that was not introduced at the last trial, although it was clearly provided.
Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and start getting this.
Pardon me.
Oh, come on.
You can keep saying it's healthcare data, but
All right, let me F11. Oh, I'm gonna get the right thing up here. Hang on. Stream Deck. Love my Stream Deck. It is a bad mama. All right. And then we'll go full screen. And I'm sharing. I'm making sure I'm sharing the right thing. And then I'm going to go record. Give it a second.
Pardon
and then we'll go. What?
You can keep saying it's healthcare data, but the Apple Watch data is not healthcare data.
Jennifer McCabe's
Health
watch.
data from the health app,
And what
maybe,
it
but it's
does
not
is it tracks her
healthcare
heart
data.
rate from midnight all the way through the next morning. Now, although that information was available to the defense, they could have done what they wanted with it. That information was never put in a PowerPoint
You're bringing
presentation.
in Jen McCabe's
I
heart
will not
rate?
and do not expect Trooper Garino to talk about it during his testimony. He's a witness. I'm going to ask the court to recall. The reason I turned that over was to be transparent and to be collegial. We would not introduce it on direct, but as Your Honor ordered, there was an order not to get into third-party culprit evidence. Jennifer McCabe was never identified as a third-party culprit, yet in the opening, the defense suggested something about 227. If the defense is...
Y'all watched with me yesterday. In the defense opening, do you think the defense was intimating that Jen McCabe did something to John O'Keefe? Or do you think the defense was intimating, hey, look at all this shit that could have been investigated and wasn't? That one? Was it that one?
To cross-examine or suggest that a phone call occurred at 227.
Weird.
This would be to rebut that
All the
information.
questions one might ask.
I could have waited until after the cross-examination and then sprung this as a surprise upon the defense because it is powerful evidence showing her heart rate is inconsistent with being in a criminal conspiracy, yet we provided it in advance so that it have notice.
What expert evidence do you have to say what somebody's heart rate would be like if they're involved in a criminal conspiracy? Just asking.
Days before Trooper Garino would even testify.
I don't even know how you're
about
going to
it.
get into that.
So the PowerPoints that were...
I mean, not running...
It's funny because Bev just skips over that too. Bev completely skips over the whole heart rate thing, right? She's not even interested in the heart rate data. I mean, that's just another thing to, if you let that in, you're opening yourself up to having this whole thing dismissed because that's nuts. Yep. Yeah, exactly. No, Brennan he's special. I mean, he is special, but he's protected. I mean, she protects the prosecution. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how worthless you are, you're going to get protected by Bev. I mean, she's just going to protect the prosecution. And to see people on X saying that, I saw somebody today say that she's so pro defense and, she should just kick Arca out and all these. I'm like, what are you even talking about? That's insane. All right. So we got the first thing, then we have the Arca people. I'm not going to do that on the video. I want to watch a little bit of, let's see. So then we had Carrie Roberts finish her testimony.
And Jen said it's off of Chapman, so it was near Spring Lane. And I knew of somebody previously that John had dated on Spring Lane, so I brought it up thinking, could he have gone there if he was walking home? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, they're talking about the Bella person. I mean, there's just
didn't
nothing.
know where. Well, it was scary driving, and Karen was, frantic, and she was yelling. I don't even remember at this point what she was yelling, but she was yelling. She had an elevated.
All right. Skip this by. I keep defaulting to Emily, which is easy to do because Emily is awesome. But we need to get some other ones in here. And then we got the crying here. All right, so this is where we were just a minute ago. Shit. Not Sharon. Damn it. There we go. Sharon now.
Gone there if he was walking home. I
I got to keep looking over
don't
at the
know.
other one because
I didn't know where he was or why he was missing.
Actually, I'll bring this over so I can see it a little easier.
Well, it was scary driving, and Karen was, frantic, and she was yelling. I don't even remember at this point what she was yelling, but she was yelling. She had an elevated voice. She was in between. The temperature was freezing because I remember at one point
I'm talking about the
as we're
weather.
driving, she was on the phone with her mother, and I think when we were driving, we got all the way to the elementary school, and Karen said to me, "If anything happens to John, I'm going to kill myself. You're going to have to take care of the kids." And I said, "Nobody's dying. Nobody's killing themselves. Let's not think about that." And then when I picked up blood all over.
I mean, what that?
Next day.
Anyway.
Where were they?
They were at John's house.
Sustaining the objection.
Who did you contact?
See what would
Law enforcement assigned to the case.
Objection. The form of the question, I'm sustaining the objection.
Who did you contact?
Specific names?
Yeah.
Steve Nelson, my victim advocate. Yuri Buchanan, who was a state trooper. And at one point I contacted Michael Morrissey's office.
And then, so
Do you
he's,
remember at any time being interviewed by police officers or state?
then they show the entire dash cam video of the first car that pulls up. Like they show this whole freaking thing, like half an hour. Then they
Here's
go
couple
take a
things
break.
that I pulled. So he showed her, something that's going to trigger a memory. And that was what John's body looked like while he was in the hospital. So she talked about, what the experience was like, taking his family to the hospital, what actually
Yeah, he got her to cry basically on the stand because she was a little stiff yesterday. And then
actually happened at the hospital, the reaction when it was discovered that John O'Keefe didn't make it, and John O'Keefe's mother. So as they
then I think we got the cross.
have words. Y'all better say thank you to Tracy, though. To this super Tracy, wow.
So this is the cross, which they definitely picked up because just the direct evidence. There was just nothing. There was nothing really learned today. It was boring.
Good morning, Ms. Roberts. How are you?
Good morning.
Under questioning by Mr. Brennan, you talked about a number of times that you have spoken to the DA's office or some member of the DA's
All right, I'm going to let this run for a minute.
I'd like to ask you a couple of questions about that.
Sure.
How many times in total do you think you've spoken to a representative of the district attorney's office?
I don't have a number.
Would you say it's more than a dozen?
Yes,
Would you say it's more than 50?
maybe around there,
Okay.
maybe less.
And who are the folks, Ms. Roberts, that you have spoken to at the DA's office?
Steve Nelson,
Okay.
the victim advocate, Yuri Buchanan, who's a state police officer, and the DA, Michael Morrissey.
Tracy did it again, y'all.
And what was the, I want to take those in order, and two of those are at the DA's office. One of those is not. Yuri Buchanan is not at the DA's office. He's actually a Massachusetts state police officer. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's take those in order. How many times would you say you've spoken to Mr. Nelson? Just if you can give me a thumbnail.
I don't know, maybe 30, 40.
Okay. Have you received what you would consider to be updates on the progress of the case?
I would ask questions and he would give me very broad answers.
Okay. Were your questions ever prompted by conversations that you had with your friend, Miss McCabe, Jen McCabe?
Sometimes Jen would say, could you ask Steve this? Because I had a rapport with Steve.
Okay. Were those conversations by text message or phone calls or both?
I would usually text him.
Okay.
She had a rapport with Steve. Jen did not have a rapport with Steve. I wonder why. Maybe because she is just nobody. Yeah, anyway. This is crazy. I got the Amazon reminder to take your medication, so I think I will here real quick. Hang on a second. All right, there we go. Another one down. Okay. All right, and then the really so let's see. We gotta get, and I think I want to bring in actually because okay, so that was she was trying. So he asked a bad question, and so that's part of what's making this trial so different this time is both sides have seemed very disjointed in their cases. I mean, they really do. Like it's there's at one point where Jackson was talking to her, and then let me see if we got that or not. Hang on. Hard to see. I don't know if he captured this or not. All right, let me. All right, he didn't capture that. Let's see. There was one point in time, which I'm trying to find, where he's asking questions about one thing, and then he jumps back to her interview on. I didn't want that. He jumps back to her interview. I gotta remember to share. I remember to share the tab. All right. To her interview on the the 29th. Okay, there we go. So this portion right here.
You received a phone call just before that interview started.
So he was talking about something else. He was talking about a completely different time frame before this. Let's see. Let's go to this.
The ADAs?
I didn't look around the table to see if anyone was
So he's talking about a meeting that she had with the ADAs just a couple weeks ago or a couple days ago.
taking notes, but I didn't see them taking notes.
No pads and pens on the table?
There's a lot of stuff on the table, but I didn't see anybody taking notes.
Okay.
I wonder how this plays to the jury too, because she's just so, and I get it. It's cross-examination and they got to understand that, but man, she is just tough.
You received a phone call just before that interview started at 5:25 p.m., correct?
Around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Is this the night of the 29th, you mean?
This is the night of, I'm jumping back to the night of the 29th.
Yeah, I'm not following you very well.
That's okay.
I'm not following you here. Oh, that's okay. But, I would think in the jury's eyes that they get confused too, right? Because now he was talking about the interview that she had with Brennan and those folks. And then he jumps back without jumping back. Like his question in his mind was jumping back to that time, but he didn't bring everybody else along with him. Right. And I'm guilty of that a lot of times, just thinking that what I'm talking about, because you should be in my mind thinking, knowing what I'm thinking about when I ask my next question that has something completely different in. And so instead of bringing those folks along, he kind of left them there. And so that, I'm sure the jury looks at that too and goes, yeah. So, all right, back to this. There we go. There we go. This was like the best part of this, today. They did talk about how, they came up with a timeline and, her and Jen McCabe sat down and did a timeline and all that. But, it was like, okay. I mean, there's nothing illegal there. Does it seem like that's a little bit, I mean, your friend of all these years is dead, and you guys are getting together to try and come up with a timeline, and then the timeline comes into play on this part too. So let's see if we got this. Whoa. So now he's got a I am guessing Cat's home with the reaction there. I don't know if that's the case or not. And they're all standing at the door, so we'll see. All right. Ah, damn it. I'm not sharing again. Frick. I am so stupid. I even put it over here so I could share it.
That question. Tanya, the defense attorney seems to
maybe
be just
by the
asking
time this trial's over, I'm going to figure it out. I promise.
Or witnesses questions on mincing words, no real evidence, losing empathy from the.
Okay, so let's go back because you missed all that.
They didn't talk about anything else. What's a jury going to think? What's a jury going to think when they hear that? She says she never testified that Reed told McCabe to Google hypothermia. And that's when we get back to the grand jury testimony and he starts impeaching her. And we're going to listen to some of that now.
Is it true that you were next asked by Mr. Lowley in front of the grand jury, quote, what, if anything, did she, Ms. Reed, ask Ms. McCabe while they were sitting in the back of the cruiser that you heard?
That you heard. That is the important part.
End quote. Remember being asked that question?
No.
Hello. Thank you. Can you grab me a spoon?
And she says, I don't remember that question. Tanya, the defense attorney seems to be just asking
A
questions
spoon.
or witnesses questions on mincing words, no real evidence, losing empathy from the jury, in my opinion. People going through trauma event will accidentally mince a few words. Okay, so this is an important distinction because I think some jurors may see it this way. I will say no real evidence. The defense doesn't need to have no real evidence at this point. They're attacking credibility. And the credibility of witnesses is absolutely important in these cases. There are jury instructions that say the jury can literally throw out a witness's testimony if they find them to not be credible. So to act like it's not a big deal that a witness isn't credible, I think is missing the point. Now, do you think this is a big deal or not a big deal? Saying I hit him 2 times versus 3 times? Okay. Completely missing details like the jacket and what you did and where people were standing and what was happening. Completely saying something that was not true before the grand jury to get her indicted. Some of those definitely seem like a bigger deal.
And in response to that question,
all seem like mincing words. We'll dig into it some more.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that a recollection? That was the question you were asked?
Yes.
And in response to that question, you stated, quote, at one point she asked her to Google hypothermia and how long Google hypothermia, correct?
Google hypothermia, how long, and Google hypothermia. Didn't finish the how long part, right? And somebody asked, Michelle said, when AJ asked Carrie if she heard Karen Reed ask Jen to do the Google search, and Carrie said, no, I was told that. I wish AJ would have immediately asked by whom. I got to be honest with you, Michelle. I get what you're saying. I think we all know the answer, right? I think the jury knows the answer. I think they're just going to assume everything that was told to Carrie Roberts came from one Miss Jen McCabe.
I don't know. How do we use this in the video
It's
today?
weird to be dead wrong on details, right? Kayla E said, why say do not recall the messages how long to die now? Just say yes. I think it's because she...
End quote, correct?
Correct.
That was your answer.
Yes.
Correct?
To a question I misunderstood.
And that was a false statement, wasn't it?
Technically.
Technically?
Yes,
Technically.
technically.
You'll get pregnant, Ms. Roberts.
Okay.
Technically, he'll get you pregnant. And the judge is like, Zach Morris, time out. Mr. Jackson.
So remember, jurors, I said earlier, comments of counsel are not evidence and you're to disregard them. Ask a question.
Thank you, Your Honor. What do you mean technically?
Technically, I was under oath and I did not hear Karen asked Jen to Google it.
And yet under oath.
But I knew it happened at that
And
time.
yet under oath you said you did.
Correct.
And that was a lie, correct? Yes.
Was that a lie? Did you lie?
I did not intentionally.
But you did.
All right. I think this is a good.
Anybody ask about a Google search?
What you're saying now.
Okay. I think we'll record this part. Like I said, I do want to get some other folks in the video. All right. Hit record. Hit play. Oh, no.
Anybody ask about a Google search?
Well, I know that's what
she admits she got the question.
All right. I got to. It did not record. Okay. There we go. I'll try this again.
you hear her say. That's what your testimony is now?
heard, and I didn't hear it. I obviously got the question wrong because I did not hear anybody ask about a Google search.
Well, I know that's what
she admits she got the question wrong because she definitely didn't hear anybody ask about a Google search.
you're saying now. I get that. But when you were asked, what, if anything, did she ask Miss McCabe while they were sitting in the back of the cruiser that you heard, your immediate answer was, at one point, she asked her to Google hypothermia and how long dash Google hypothermia, end quote. Correct?
Correct.
That was your answer.
Yes.
Correct?
To a question I misunderstood.
And that was a false statement, wasn't it?
Technically.
Technically?
Yes,
Technically.
technically.
You'll get pregnant, Ms. Roberts.
Okay.
Technically, it'll get you pregnant. The judge is like, Zach Morris, timeout. Mr. Jackson.
So remember, jurors, I said earlier, comments of counsel are not evidence and you're to disregard them. Ask a question.
Thank you, Your Honor. What do you mean technically?
Technically, I was under oath and I did not hear Karen asked Jen to Google it.
And yet under oath.
But I knew it happened at that
And
time.
yet under oath you said you did.
Correct.
And that was a lie, correct? Yes.
Was that a lie? Did you lie?
I did not intentionally.
But you did.
Okay. Second. Sorry, eating dinner and streaming. I know. So she admits that she did not hear. So that was Carrie Roberts would be the only person Carrie Roberts would be the only person that can corroborate that Karen asked about the Google search. So without that, you have nobody else in the world that could have heard that. So I don't know.
On the 29th,
yeah,
you were interviewed around 5:25 p.m., maybe just a little bit before that.
Yeah.
You received a phone call just before that, correct?
I do not know.
Isn't it true that Jen McCabe called you and spoke to you just before that?
I spoke to Jen McCabe the entire day.
Okay. Including just before that interview?
I don't know.
Did you tell Jen McCabe that you were about to be interviewed?
All right. So that was the big excitement with Carrie. I don't know if there's anything on her recross that's interesting. Let's see. Oh, when you were being influenced. When you were being influenced. Damn it.
When
I'm an idiot. I'm sorry, I'm old and I have no short-term memory. So
what? Chat. I feel chat what? Chat what? Chat what? Chat.
Being interviewed by law enforcement, did you ever asked to go into the house to look for him?
No.
When you were being interviewed by
when you
law
were being
enforcement,
interviewed.
Chat what? Chat what? Chat what? Chat. I feel like a real reaction streamer right now. Chat. What?
All right, we
What?
record this.
House to look for him?
No.
All right, that's kind of a funny moment. So we will record that for our video. Okay, hit the record button. Wait for it to pop up and go.
Was it ever suggested that he went into 34 Fairview?
No.
Was it ever suggested that he went into any house whatsoever that morning?
No.
Were you ever asked to go into the house to look for him?
No.
When you were being interviewed by law enforcement, did you ever?
Chat what? Chat what? Chat what? Chat. I feel like a real reaction streamer right now. Chat. What? What?
When you were being influenced. Yes, exactly.
We're
That's
gonna back
exactly
right
what
up. We're
happened.
gonna back that thing right up. We're gonna back that thing up. We're gonna back.
Influence.
We're back that up again. We're gonna back that up again. When you were being influenced, interviewed. Sir, that was not the slip to make, sir.
No.
Were you ever asked to go into the house to look for him?
No.
When you were being when you were being interviewed by law enforcement.
All right. Like I said, I don't know that there's really anything from her, direct testimony that's like a highlight or a recap. There's nothing that really she said. Just all right. So we had her. Then we had. Oh,
Said, is that accurate?
this was another part right here. This was another part right here that got really testy. Like he is Alan Jackson is trying to refresh her memory on something here.
Jackson.
It does. I think I hit him. And Karen is now, did you testify, quote, Karen pulls in and I pull in behind her, period. When we get out, and Karen is now showing us the back of the car saying, my taillight, do you think I hit him? Do you think I hit him? Oh my God, do you guys think I hit him? Question mark. End quote. Is that how you testified?
May I see it?
Sure.
He's pulling a Jen. May I see it?
You know what? Maybe we'll just record this too so we have it. Go back one more. Lots of steps. Nope, I went full screen. And then hit record. And go.
Did you testify, quote, Karen pulls in and I pull in behind her?
I don't know.
Period. When we get out.
Not my
and
super
Karen
chat.
is
I don't
now
have
showing
super
us the
chats
back of
yet.
the car
But if you
saying,
subscribe,
"My taillight,
I'll be one
do
step
you think I hit
closer.
him?
So
Do
please
you think I hit
subscribe.
him? Oh my God, do you guys think I hit him? Question mark. End quote. Is that
Yes.
how you testified?
May I see it?
Sure.
He's pulling a Jen. May I see it?
I apologize. I've already got it up here.
Does it have a date on it, Mr. Jackson?
It does.
I know. I want super chats. Damn it. Give me super chats. One of these days. I'll get there. It's
426, 22.
I thought it was going to happen by now, but
Yes.
not yet. But we'll get there.
Thank you. Do you have the pages after this?
I'm sure I do.
Because in the pages after this,
My
I
question, Mr. Roberts, is that a quote that I just said? Is that accurate? Do you see it in the?
yes, it is.
Okay.
Trying to
May I
control it.
approach?
Yes.
You are not the lawyer, ma'am.
All right. We might use that. All right. And then we had John O'Keefe's mom, Peggy. I'm not going to play any or much. I don't think I'm going to do any of that testimony because I don't know what. I mean, this was absolutely just, I guess, background on John O'Keefe, but I mean, and Alan and The defense did a good thing of saying, okay, we're not going to cross you at all. You can just go. What the world? You can just go.
Comes AJ for a cross. Like, I think they're deciding if they're going to do it. They're going to do it.
Okay.
Mrs. O'Keefe, I'm very, very sorry for your loss. I have no questions for you.
Wow.
All right, Mrs. O'Keefe, you're all set.
Wow.
What else is wrong with you?
You know what?
Right.
This is crazy.
And she went upstairs to get her clothing and her medication, maybe, and any other personal effects, her laptop, whatever she needed.
This is a real litmus test, I think, for Canoni on just what she's really going to allow or not allow. Because this one. Is crazy.
Do you remember during the first trial when Lally tried to argue that Karen contacting an attorney on the day of January 29th showed consciousness of guilt?
So did not taking her shoes off. I mean, how far down the hole are we going here?
We'll see.
Side, instead of leaving in the one car, they take the alleged murder weapon, they get into two cars.
She wants to go home. So this translates into what they're really doing is getting rid of the murder weapon. By the way, here's how they got rid of the murder weapon, because play this all the way out. They took it to her parents' house and didn't even put it in the garage and shut it.
Right.
They didn't drive it to Connecticut and dump it in some alley. They left it in the driveway where her parents live and ass out, meaning like visible to anyone. That's not concealing evidence. That's, I want to go home and be with my family.
Didn't bring it to a body shop and dump it off somewhere at a chop shop. You know, we know where a couple of them are, maybe in Brooklyn. But I mean, really? She shouldn't take her car with her? There has never to this day surfaced a motor vehicle accident report stemming from this case ever, and a fatality. Never. There's no crash report. There's no motor vehicle accident report. Proctor didn't decide until 16 hours later that this was a motor vehicle accident. So at this point, it's not a murder weapon and he's full of shit.
I can't believe we're having an in-court legal argument over this clip.
All right,
which
there we
adds
go.
nothing
For some reason,
to
my
either
mic got
side
muted.
as whether
Damn it.
he's going to get up in a summation with a straight face and say, her consciousness of guilt is indicated by the fact that she went home, got some belongings, or tampered with a ring in his view, and then left with her family and went home and brought the car to home. Exactly, by the way, where Proctor found it in plain view with the taillight revealed.
Yeah, insane. All right, so that's really boring. All right. I know that then we had this. Oh, yeah, I wanted to show you one other thing about Peggy. John O'Keefe's mom. She was a very sympathetic figure on the stand today. So let's see a picture of, John O'Keefe's mom, Peggy. That kind of just sums it up. Kind of sums up the whole thing. There is a bunch of the McCabe's and Alberts giving everybody the finger. So yeah, she's a very, very sympathetic figure. She has no motive to, want to. Yeah, anyway. Stupid. Oh, somebody's not happy.
Didn't feel welcome attention from the jump.
All right. So what other we had? So then we had Trooper Guarano show up. And
these reports are finding the low-hanging.
Trooper Guarano is the Massachusetts State Police cell phone expert. And so all he really did today, because of the new discovery, he got on the stand and he basically just did his credentials for being able to testify about this stuff. So he talked about the reports.
Tree. So that's showing you the stuff that the program is set that most people are looking for. As I said, the phone calls, the chats, from the time you plug it in to the process it completes, and then the amount of data, and then, like I said, that digital fingerprint hash value at the end.
And did you do that with this phone, Mr. O'Keefe's
Yes,
phone?
I
May I
did.
approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
With a clean highlight. I'm going to show you a document, sir.
So this guy gets up on the stand, talks about how qualified he is to do cell phone extractions. But it just so happens there was a case and let me see if I can find some case that we talked about from a girl named Sandra Birchmore. Trooper Guarano downloaded the phone of the guy that was charged eventually by the feds with Matthew Farwell. Here we go. Let's just look at Aiden's text here, tweet. The feds discovered that Matthew Farwell, who was the police officer responsible for grooming and then eventually killing Sandra Birchmore as a young woman, and they had texted over 32,000 times. But when Nick Guarano did a full data extraction report of Farwell's phone, he didn't find a single text message. This is also the guy that didn't find any of Jen McCabe's deleted phone calls or Google searches. He also testified that O'Keefe's health data shows him going up and down flights of stairs because he was driving on a hilly road. So Trooper Guarano is just, it's the same stuff over and over again in this case. But today he got on the stand and talked about all his accolades and how good he is and blah, blah, blah. And so it's just disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. 32,000 times. And it took the feds actually to get the cell phone extraction from to find out that, hey, this guy actually did all this crime scene, because Norfolk DA, the same DA's office that investigates and is charging Karen Reed, this was last year. We talked about this case. The feds charged former Stoughton cop Matthew Farwell with killing Sandra Birchmore after state and local probes ruled her death a suicide. I mean, it is the most ridiculous thing. And it's the same cast of characters. It's Guarano, it's Lank, it's Sergeant Good. It's these same freaking people covering for their brothers. I mean, it's so sick. In September, and Morrissey, the DA from Canton. Canton is probably one of the worst places. Massachusetts is horrible. It's almost as bad as Michigan. Nothing is as bad as Michigan, but Massachusetts is really close as far as stupid people and the amount. So yeah, it took multiple years for the FBI to come in and actually figure out what happened to this poor girl, who everybody know was groomed by this guy. But yeah, so we get Matthew Guarano is pulled up as the guy,
extracted and then created into a PDF or a form that can be read. Can you print the entire file on paper if you like?
Okay, and then we had this goofball. So this is kind of why I got Ricada here, because I know these guys kind of went off on this guy.
Somewhere outside in the street.
So let's watch a little bit of this guy.
Today?
I do.
Could you identify her, please?
Yes.
Please.
Verbally.
Listen to this guy. He is like the king.
The woman standing, sitting in between these two
I
gentlemen.
want this judge to hold this guy in contempt of court.
Did you interact with her that morning? Have a conversation?
Yes.
When you first started speaking to her, what was her demeanor?
Pretty upset, crying. She was. We had a Section 12 in hand, which is a medical order or a police order to be taken to the hospital for a psychological evaluation.
Did you discuss that with her?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you ask her to follow you or to come with you?
Yeah, she did.
And did that happen?
To the ambulance, correct.
So you went to the ambulance with the defendant?
Yeah.
And was Mr. Becker with you?
Yes.
What happens when you get to the ambulance?
I'm going to speed this up a little bit.
Start
harmonizing with this guy's
we want to kind of just get everybody into a nice warmer location where it wasn't snowing or windy or anything like that.
Why is he smiling so much?
Discussing that, we have a Section 12 that states we have, regardless of if you want to go, we have to take you to the hospital.
You think his girlfriend has like a really bad stutter? That's why they get along.
And we were trying
There's
to
somebody for everybody.
because once the Section 12 is written, it doesn't matter what the patient says. We have to get them there one way or the other, whether it's cooperatively restrained or chemically restrained with sedatives or anything.
It's not a voluntary order?
It is not a voluntary order.
Inevitably, did the defendant agree to go with you to the hospital?
Yes.
Now you're speaking my
When you were going
language.
to return to the hospital, was the defendant placed in the back of the ambulance where a patient would be?
So
we let her drive.
How we operate for anybody that's a Section 12.
Okay, this part was kind of funny. Go back.
with you to the hospital?
Yes.
Now you're speaking my
When you were going
language.
to return to the hospital, was the defendant placed in the back of the ambulance where a patient
Correct.
would be?
So
No, we let her drive.
how we operate for anybody that's a Section 12.
Where else in the ambulance is she gonna go?
Anybody that
roof
is
rack?
under the influence of anything. We always operate
They're
with
gonna strap her to the
people in
grill
the
on the
back of
front.
the ambulance. So myself and my partner, Jason Becker, were back there. And then we had to take somebody from the engine company and have them drive to the hospital, and that was Sam Park.
I think she
Sam
wanted
Bach.
to kill herself after she heard this guy
P-O-C-H.
talking.
Thank you. Before you left, before
We're
you
gonna have to
started
Section
driving
12 the
away
whole
from Fairview,
courtroom.
were you having any conversations with the defendant?
Yes.
Can you share with the jury what those conversations were about?
So we were talking. She was upset. She kept asking if
So bad.
if there was any chance her husband could be alive, and even sitting outside
Well, he was till we got there.
in the snow with no coat on for many hours. And
Did she indicate what many hours meant? How many?
no,
How often did she raise the issue of whether or not, or how long he could be out for?
What are you doing?
I'd say at least 3 to 4, maybe more.
Part of your job is to care for patients.
Correct. Yes.
Was part of your job to try to get them to the location safely?
Yes.
And sometimes you treat patients with physical injuries, don't you?
Many, oftentimes it is.
All right. We got to record the drive part. That's got to go in the video. Ooh.
Somebody from
Dang it. Ah. Now I've lost the place. Really? Oh, maybe he said let her drive. Yep.
Going for a patient
Correct.
would be?
So
No, we let her drive.
All right, we gotta get that. That's too funny. Because this trial is just a joke. Okay, did that go? Yep.
Voluntary order?
It is not a voluntary order.
Inevitably, did the defendant agree to go with you to the hospital?
Yes.
Now you're speaking my
When you were going
language.
to return to the hospital, was the defendant placed in the back of the ambulance where a patient
Correct.
would be?
So
No, we let her drive.
how we operate for anybody that's a Section 12.
Where else in the ambulance is she gonna go?
Anybody that
roof
is
rack?
under the influence of anything. We always operate
They're
with
gonna strap her to the
people in
grill
the
on the
back of
front.
the ambulance. So myself and my partner, Jason Becker, were back there. And then we had to take somebody from the engine company
Oh, God.
and have them drive.
That's too much. Oh. All right, hang on a second. Start that back
To the
up.
hospital, and that was Sam Park.
I think
Sam
she wanted
Bach.
to kill herself after she heard this guy talking.
Before you left, before
We're
you
gonna have to
started
Section
driving
12 the
away
whole
from Fairview,
courtroom.
were you having any conversations with the defendant?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
What those conversations were about?
I'm sure there could have been, but I don't recall ever speaking with them or interacting with them.
Okay. Were there other
So Yannetti,
police or firefighters there? when
Yannetti
you
gets
got
up there.
Just my Lieutenant Woodbury, and then Firefighter Sam Park.
Okay, and they were in charge of engine one?
Well, the Station 1 engine.
The Station 1 engine? Okay. And there were also civilians on scene, correct?
Correct.
So you would agree that there was a lot of activity outside 34 Fairview, correct?
Fair amount of activity.
I mean, there were people and vehicles and lights surrounding that residence, correct?
Check your Twitter DMs real quick, Andrew.
I assume so, yes.
Well, you were there, so you don't really have to assume, you know, right?
There was at least 2 police cruisers and a fire engine.
Right, and civilians, and police officers, and firefighters, correct? And civilians.
Correct.
All right.
You're gonna have to show me how you
With
do
all of
that.
that activity,
Trying to find one other thing. So yeah, they noticed that his
No ums.
I do.
all right. You didn't mention in that answer that it was only at times that she was crying and upset, correct?
And his
No.
demeanor so visibly changed
The whole
between
time,
one
from
testimony and the
beginning to
other.
end, Ms. Reed was constantly worried about
Now I'm
John,
thinking
was
the
she not?
ums were him trying to remember what he was told to testify,
You recall that she was on the phone.
or what he
at
at
one
least
point
what he had
speaking to
decided he was
someone
going
that
to
she called
testify,
Papa, correct?
recalling the script.
I didn't catch that earlier. That's a good point. Yeah. We got to get that too. Okay, we'll just record some of that.
And his
No.
demeanor so visibly changed
The whole
between
time,
one
from
testimony and
beginning
the
to
other.
end, Ms. Reed was constantly worried about
Now
John,
I'm
was
thinking
she
the
not?
ums were him trying to remember what he was told to testify,
You recall that she was on the phone.
or what he
at
at
one
least
point
what he had
speaking to
decided he was
someone
going
that
to
she called
testify,
Papa, correct?
recalling the scripts.
Did you later learn that Papa was John O'Keefe Sr.?
I am just learning that just now.
All right. And in any case, you heard her say to Papa, is he dead? He's dead, isn't he?
Sustained.
You could hear on the other end of the line that Papa was saying something to her, correct?
The objection sustained.
May I approach?
The witness.
All right. So yeah. So okay. So let's go back to the other testimony. Let's go back to his direct and get some of his ums.
I do not
Okay. And record.
Asked about Kerry Roberts, right?
I'm sorry, what day?
February 8th of 2022.
Okay.
You were asked about Kerry Roberts, right?
I do not recall if I was or was
I
not.
thought your memory was really good.
You knew Kerry Roberts from your neighborhood, correct? You
Oh yeah, that's right. This guy talked about how he's another one where his memory gets better after. Yeah, his memory gets so much better after he. All right. Yep. Nope. Gotta go farther. Nope. There's like 31 different references to memory.
better on February 8th than it is today, is your testimony.
I would feel it's just.
All right, let's go ahead and get that. Hit record.
Snarky was the term you used, correct?
Correct.
But you were first interviewed by the police on February 8th of 2022.
Impeachment.
Correct?
If that's what the report says, yes.
About 10 days after this.
About that.
And the events of January 29th were fresh in your mind on February 8th of 2022, correct?
As fresh as they are today.
Okay, so you do not
Wait, what?
allow that your memory was better on February 8th of 2022
Just as
regarding
good.
January 29th of 2022. It wasn't better on February 8th than it is today, is your testimony.
I would feel it's just as good.
Okay. Your memory does not get better over time, correct?
For this case, it seemed to stick out to me.
Oh my God.
Okay, so are
That
you
wasn't the question.
testifying that your memory gets better over time?
No, but
That would be crazy, wouldn't it?
correct.
That would be crazy. You need a section 12, wouldn't
I should have kept that going.
you?
To interview you.
I got to get that. All right, let me hit record one more time.
Over time.
No, but
That would be crazy, wouldn't it?
correct.
That would be crazy. You need a section 12, wouldn't you?
2022 interview, you were asked about Kerry Roberts, right?
All right. Oh God, what a nightmare. So yeah, so you got the guy. I mean, just yeah, his demeanor is completely different between the. All right, I got to get some
Asking
more.
if
Let's see. All right, we'll just record a little more of this goofball. I mean, who are these people? Like I said, don't go to Massachusetts. There's nothing there.
shut off their lights when they arrive on scene. Sometimes they don't.
Okay, so you don't have a memory one way or the other?
No, nothing sticks out.
But those police vehicles certainly were not hidden. They were in plain
You
view,
know what?
correct?
I'm gonna go back.
I would say so.
Minimum.
Because
it was snowing pretty heavily at that point.
Do you know about how long it took you to get to 34 Fairview?
Not exactly, but definitely longer than usual. It should have been an 8-minute drive. I'm guessing 10 to 12 minutes. You could refer to my partner's report for exacts.
When you got there, what did you see?
We arrived on scene. Our engine was there before we run on a response with an engine and an ambulance to medical calls. And then at least 2 police cruisers and another car parked on the street, a gray SUV.
When you got there, did you meet with anybody?
Yeah, usually we get out, we say hi to my lieutenant and the other
Oh my
gentleman,
God.
Sam Parker, was on the engine before we got there.
It's just like every other word. Every other word is
where we parked.
No wonder all their
down
other
further,
patients die.
or at
He's
least I
gonna
did,
drive me crazy.
to the gray SUV.
When you
Stop
reached the gray
saving me.
SUV, did you see anybody inside it?
I believe that, getting out,
God,
we were walking down, they were coming out to
If he
to greet
leans
us.
forward, his chin
Um,
disappears
there were 3
entirely
women
into
there.
his neck.
Okay. Did you speak to any of them in particular?
Subsumed into it.
Not at that point, no, not really.
He looks
At
like a
some
turtle.
point, did you have any interaction with any of the women?
Yes.
All right. That should be enough of that. Oh my gosh. What a crazy, crazy day.
Yes, that's
Oh,
why
they
I
looked-
volunteered to bring the fire.
So
Right.
even that whole argument comes in.
The
and crack when picked up from that rhyme from mom.
All right. So yeah, like I said, very little. I mean, this guy was the Section 8 guy, so he's the one that took Karen to the hospital, and I mean, his testimony was basically that Karen didn't like Kerry Roberts. You know, that was his testimony. Was she said bad stuff about Kerry Roberts? Let's see if I can find that. And yeah, I mean, that was.
She said, anybody who knows Kerry Roberts wouldn't say that about her.
I don't know how I did it. I just clicked it right there and it just went right to the spot. That was cool.
I said, well, she did come to out at early in the morning to look for your husband in a blizzard. And she just rolled her eyes and put her head back down. And I thought it was just bizarre.
Objection, move to strike.
I'll strike that last sentence.
Would you describe her demeanor as even through that ride?
No.
He's not allowed to give his up.
I mean, Yeah, I mean that's his testament. That's the big part of his testimony was she said bad things about the saint of Carrie Roberts, who has said awful things about her even before all of this happened. So I can see where, like, yeah, anyway, it's just nuts. This whole thing is crazy. So yeah, that was the big testimony today. I don't know what we're going to in for tomorrow, but it's going to be stupid, I'm
One
sure.
compilation that I can look at in advance. If you don't, you don't.
I thought we had provided it to the court. If we haven't.
Oh yeah, what
A
else?
bit
was there?
more expeditiously tomorrow. What would be very helpful to me, Mr. Brennan, are these clips. I haven't seen any of. I haven't.
Oh
watched.
yeah, so the clips, like he's got all these clips that he's playing in between witnesses.
Nothing different than normal to pay their prosecutors. They're paying them salaried anyway. Maybe OT.
Like, and they had a whole argument about the one clip earlier. Like, they were going to show this clip before the next witness, and is like, and one of them they didn't object to, but another one they did, and so
A lot of those prosecutors
All right,
were
so I
pro
would like
It's
to
like,
move
what the
things
hell?
along a little bit more expeditiously tomorrow. What would be very helpful to me, Mr. Brennan, are these clips. I haven't seen any of. I haven't watched anything on television about any of these. Do you have them all in one compilation that I can look at in advance? If you don't, you don't.
I thought we had provided it to the court. If we haven't, we will. May I have a moment?
Sure.
Team Ruby, thank you for the donation. Really appreciate it.
Anyway. All right. Well, that's I don't even know how many freaking things I have to. Let's look. How many do we have today? And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got like 10 clips to go through. Put together some kind of little video. But I think I'm going to do that offline so I can just whip it out, get it done. So, yeah. But we will be back tomorrow with another recap. I might try and do it from the store and see if Michael wants to sit in. So hopefully there's something that happens tomorrow that's really worthy of anything, because like I said, this was like 7 hours of testimony today. And like, what, 5 things that maybe 5 things that we got out of this? I don't know. I mean, it's just silly. So yeah, I'm gonna try and go over to the store tomorrow, get our new, at least a new microphone set up over there. And we'll see how much I get done actually before that. But yes, anyway, all right, I'm going to go. I'm going to put together this video, look for it online, give it a watch, and we will see you tomorrow. Because we're going to do, like I said, every day there's testimony. We will be streaming because I'm crazy. Yeah. So, all right, good night. Goodbye.